Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. The Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries has rejected the environmental impact application by Karpowership Energy. The Turkish company is seeking to supply 1,220 megawatts of power to South Africa. It has plans to have 9 Karpowership vessels docking at Richards Bay, Saldanha Bay harbours for the next 20 years. For more on this, we're joined now by Albi Modise, who speaks for the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. What does this all mean? How do we begin to make sense of it? Does it mean that Karpowership cannot dock their ships on South Africa's coastline?
Well, good evening, and good evening to your viewers as well. Well, the decision by the department, which effectively refused one of the applications for environmental authorization for, as you correctly pointed out, one of the 3 Karpowership projects, and the second project has to be withdrawn, with the third one having been suspended pending an outcome currently that's being investigated into some environmental processes. Effectively, it means that if you don't have an environmental authorization, because of the type of work Karpowership wants to do, which is that of generating electricity from natural gas, docking those vessels on the ocean, the potential impact to the marine life is also an area that needs to be considered. So therefore, it's important that we bring on board key stakeholders. And I think one of the key challenges that we found was that with regards to specifically the port of Richards Bay, the environmental assessment practitioner who submitted the letter to us on the 2nd of March asked us to withdraw their final environmental impact assessment, which we did. And the withdrawal, it's been followed up with them. The port of Saldanha, the competent authority, as we call them, but effectively is the department, we received a correspondence from the Green Connection, which made some allegations of non-compliance with regards to the regulations of the EIA. And often when such issues are deposited into the system, it's incumbent upon us as the authority that we investigate those allegations. I mean, some of the allegations were that the small-scale fisheries industry was not duly consulted, and that the information that was deposited as part of the application, it was the aquaculture industry. And when we view such information in a very serious light, and therefore we could not be the ones to authorize something that has been alleged to have been riddled with irregularities and malpractices. And with regard to the port of Ngqura, the application was refused. And the record of the decision, it talks to a number of developments that are being earmarked for the port of Ngqura. Transnet National Ports Authority, for an example, has got a particular area in that part of the port, and there were a number of environmental issues that we were not comfortable with regards to the application. So those were the rationale behind our refusal to grant the Karpowership the authorization.
Yeah, in the midst of the challenges, I mean, what are some of the options on the table? Is there a possibility at all of remedying the situation by tweaking their operations in order to set up in South Africa?
A week ago, Minister Chrissy briefed energy briefing, the media rather, at an energy briefing. And one of the areas that she highlighted was that the declaration of the disaster management, the activation of Disaster Management Act, and the subsequent directions are not going to trump environmental laws. So even in the age where we've declared a state of disaster, or we're going to activate measures to ensure that we fast-track our efforts to bring energy to South Africans, we have to make sure that we comply with all of the requirements, because imagine a situation where the department goes ahead and grants authorization to the Saldanha application, and the fishing industry lodges an appeal in court against us, and we are found wanting in court. Therefore, you don't want to do that. We want to make sure that as we take a decision, it's a decision that will stand the test of constitutional scrutiny, and also that as we do all of those things, we're able to ensure that we bring energy in a manner that's open, that's fair, that also understands that the environment needs to also be looked at as a very delicate consideration.
Yeah, in understanding and clarifying, do all IPPs need the environmental impact clearance before setting up operations?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to run operations of this particular nature, you effectively are going to deal with a number of environmental aspects. But of course, in terms of the strategic infrastructure projects of government, SIPs, we have since brought in the faster methods of making sure that authorization happens in a much more speedier fashion than it would have been the case under normal circumstances. So there is a way that we're doing these things to ensure that in response to the clarion call by the president, we also play our part as the Environment Department to make sure that we bring energy to the people. But as we do all of those things, those particular applications cannot trump environmental laws.
With the fate of Karpowership in limbo, what does it mean going forward in terms of timeframes and the outcome?
Look, the National Environment Management Act makes provisions for appeals. So in terms of the act, the department takes a decision on an application of this particular nature like we have done now. So if the Karpowership is not happy or is aggrieved with the decisions, they still have an opportunity to appeal this particular ruling. And the system allows for individuals or organizations to make an appeal should they feel that the decision could be heavy-handed and might not necessarily be in congruence with our efforts to ensure sustainable development in the country.
Very well. Thank you so much. Thanks for that update. That was a spokesperson for the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, Albi Modise.